I skipped over Conan. I wasn't really a part of the Conan crowd.
I wasn't either until like everything that happened with him in the Tonight Show, and then it was like, let me look, do it.
He's had a resurgence lately.
Yeah, because people miss him. Like he unfortunately.
If you haven't seen it, look up the hot sauce.
It's wild. It's a wild episode.
They realized what they were missing.
It's a wild episode.
It's like because Leno retired, right? And then Conan got it, and then Leno came back.
So like
took it right away.
So they wanted Leno to get off like the Tonight Show. So they gave him a slot that was like an hour before the Tonight Show. So basically, like they had hooked him up with like the Tonight Show, but just in a different package and not like called the Tonight Show. And it would lead in before like Conan's show. So then all of a sudden the ratings were like wild because it's like, well, like I'm still getting Jay Leno and I'm getting Conan and Conan's still like behind Jay Leno. So like it's like, yeah, it's like basically it's like my master like is leaving. I'm the apprentice. I'm taking over his spot. But then it's like my master's like, yeah, but I'm gonna do the hour before. It's like, well, we're back in the same spot that we were in the first time. Like, this is what I've been doing the whole entire time. So that was been the big issue. And then they were like, the ratings were not doing well. But
thanks a lot, Jay Leno. Your garage full of
cars,
dollars worth of cars. I would like to tour that garage, though. Can you imagine? Like, well, there was a show, Jay Leno's Garage.
Yeah.
And he wore his Canadian tuxedo the entire time, trying to look like every man, but he's not every man, not with that chin. And that Bailey with her chin. Yeah. Bailey, she reminds me of Jay Leno. Anyway, so
interesting that you think that, but like I guess I could see. I'm gonna now.
Yeah, the back over though, woo, that ain't Jay Leno's ass.
Have you paid attention to Jay Leno's butt?
No.
Okay.
I guarantee you, it's not. It doesn't look shit like Bailey's.
Okay.
Anyway,
dear listener.
Dear listener. So on that note, welcome to the Savor the Bourbon podcast. My name's Jonathan. This over here is Mr. W2. How do you do?
One hell of a night.
One hell of a night so far. Yeah, and we're just getting started. We're on our 4th bottle of whiskey. Woo! Yeah. No. Once again, rounding out our series in the month of Juneteenth. The month of June is Mr. Chandler Johnson.
Hello. This is great. So great to see you all and be a part of this and everything. I first time caller. I want that.
Just a little call back to the first time we had him on.
But it's really great.
First time caller, long time listener, but we've been on like a month or whatever.
But I'm so excited to be here and be partaking in these amazing Kansas City inspired. Well, I mean Kansas City bourbons that are inspired by
the Negro League's baseball. Teams. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. Yeah. And before we wrap, especially this episode, we're gonna have to figure out where people can find you and source you for your design work.
Literally like a Where's Waldo, so you have to like look around, and if you find a guy that like looks like me and like it's not wearing glasses, not like a striped shirt, but like, you know, happens to, you know, maybe be like attractive, if you are looking for like somebody that
pickprogressproject.com.
Yeah.
Kalamazoo, KALA
KALIMIZZOU.
Yeah.
.com.
Yeah. Look those up.
And for the spoiler of people saying like, well, did you go to Mizzou? No, I did not. I'm a Wildcat at heart. I went to K-State and everything like that. But the inspiration is that it's one of my first Gmail accounts that I had. And I think that it's the best representation of like me being born in Kansas City, Missouri, but mainly growing up in Kansas. Okay. I've always considered it. I've always considered this area of growing up on both sides as like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde and you can decide which one is which.
Right.
Because
Tough call.
Because both sides are wild on its own, and one looks straight lace.
Yeah.
And the other one, it's like, oh no, we don't do gambling over here. And
Right.
it's like, okay,
but the other side is straight
and then it's
fucking
like,
hood.
oh yeah, we do weed over here, and then we do it over there. It's like, what is
if
happening?
If you even
here?
think about bringing it into our state, you are toast.
Yeah. So just growing up in this wild neck of the woods, and I've been fortunate to hang out with you all for the umpteenth time. I'm past the 5-timers club. I know that I'm
way past it at this
point. Past it. I don't have the jacket, and I'm not going to Flying J's wherever that is.
Right.
This doesn't happen for me. So I'm hoping that that I will get the jacket in the mail.
Yeah.
I'll be looking out for it.
Yeah. It'll come with your complimentary lot lizard.
Okay.
But yeah, so on this episode, we're going over the Rieger's Negro League's Fielder's Choice Collection Chicago American Giants Light Whiskey. So we're looking forward to that one. It's
definitely lighter than the first three.
It is. We've been through the Monarchs, the Grays, and the St. Louis Stars, and now we're getting to the Chicago American Giants.
Yeah.
What all can you tell us about that? You talk, I'll pour.
Yeah. So this is the limited edition light corn whiskey. This is American whiskey category. No age statement again, but this comes in at 100 proof. And the style is corn whiskey. It says, in honor of the Chicago American Giants, the most dominant team in black baseball in the early 1900s, including 7 league titles and championship wins in both the 1926 and 1927 Negro World Series. Our limited edition light corn whiskey tastes like the quintessential baseball snack, Cracker Jacks. This delicious spirit delivers notes of popcorn, caramel, and peanut brittle. While light corn whiskey is a blending component of Rieger's Kansas City whiskey, this is the first time we've offered it as a standalone spirit.
All right. Well, as you were reading off those notes, I kind of sniffed the open bottle, and I'm like, what? No. What? No. Peanut brittle. Okay. Yeah. So I expect there to be a little bit of peanut brittle for you guys to smell.
Yep, definitely peanut brittle.
And corn.
A lot of corn.
Yeah.
Cracker
Sweet.
Jacks.
What's the sweet? Is it caramel from the Cracker Jacks?
A little bit of caramel. I think like a brown sugar maybe also.
You don't think it'd be one or the other? Sometimes.
No, I definitely think it would be one or the other.
One or the other.
Yeah.
I asked that because I do think like they're gonna distilleries, they're gonna narrow in on the usual suspects like we talked about when it comes to the different flavors on the palate or on the nose or on the finish or whatever, but they're gonna zero in on specific flavors that they're looking for and that they want to showcase. So much like we are with the whiskey, the spirit of choice in the cocktails that we make, we want the spirit of choice to shine. Well, I think distilleries, in my mind, you're right, in my head movies, that I would think that they want each tasting note to shine.
Yep.
You know, to have specific parts to play in the entirety of the whiskey.
We talked about peanut brittle, but I'm definitely getting roasted peanuts. Like a Planters.
I'm not sure, man.
No?
I'm not sure. I am picking up on the peanut brittle and some corn. So maybe it's the caramely of the brittle part and the peanut, the Planters, what?
Planters.
Peanuts, salted.
I can understand like where they're coming from. I don't get all the elements of the Cracker Jack aspect of it, but because of the lightness and because of like kind of the peanut butter and everything,
it's way lighter.
In the taste of the corn, I can understand where they're going for. Like I might not like hit my nose the same way, but I'm like I see where you're like where that inspiration is. Sometimes I wonder if there's like a little bit of inception, right? Like they let me say the word and then you say, oh yeah, I smell it, as opposed to the flip side where it's like because I smell like a little bit of the corn, but like I don't smell like the Cracker Jack. But like also know that starts like that corn smell starts leaning towards a Cracker Jack type feel. You know what I mean? So that's
Shit.
where I'm going with it. Yeah.
I swirled it too aggressively. Now it's on my pants. Either
Or
that,
you
or I'm
pee.
just really happy to be on this podcast tonight.
What about a hint?
Oh.
What about a hint of saltine crackers?
No.
No?
Maybe a hint of a browniness. Oh.
Yeah, it's such a
I want American Pie with
Yeah,
it.
such a-
Come on.
such
No,
a-
wait. It wasn't American Pie. It was
it's
oh God, Office Space.
Yes.
With
Yeah.
you're not gonna
Yeah.
show her my O
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, I know the
gonna take her on the O roller coaster. Oh.
Anyway.
Lumberg fucked her. I'm ready to get it on the palate.
Let's do it.
Lumberg. I taste more of that Cracker Jack aspect in
Yep.
my head, like after like the finish a little bit.
This is not hit like 100 proof whiskey.
No, not at all.
It's light.
That's not at all what I was expecting.
I mean, charcoal on the finish.
Yeah.
Charcoal. You picking that up, or am I
don't know
crazy?
if it-
That was just for
Yeah.
a sip, so I don't know.
Yeah,
The
a little bit charred oak.
palate light oak.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Corn with some brown sugar.
This is just like a simple, clean,
Yeah.
higher than you would expect it proof corn whiskey.
That's a cocktail maker right there.
This is what I was about to say. I was going to ask, like, what would you make with this to like bring?
I think
this
you
out?
could do sours all day long.
Sours, probably not an old fashioned.
Is there anything that you
could, but
Is there anything that you could do that really enhances like the kind of baseball like Cracker Jack theme? Like a kind of
that's
like
a good question. That's a good question.
Like a popcorny
Yeah.
type drink.
What was the we put sugar on one of the fruits and we hit it with a torch.
Oh, that was with the Devil's Cut. We did an orange slice and did the sugar, the
You remember what the cocktail was?
Dance with the Devil.
Is that what it was?
That was a good cocktail.
Because I think a sugary charred citrus would fucking set this thing off.
It'd be interesting to have.
With some kind of marshmallowy. Because it's got almost a little bit of marshmallowiness to it.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to have like
on the finish.
And I think about this of like just having like a marshmallow with two like either Cracker Jacks or popcorn kernels on either ends, like the popcorn kernels and the marshmallow in the middle, like kind of charred, like
Skewered,
having
sitting on top.
right there would be interesting.
Might have to pre-drill the graham cracker or whatever.
So you mentioned marshmallow.
Yeah.
And so now, instead of brown sugar, I'm thinking like a corn syrup. Corn syrup sweetness.
I could see that. Okay, because it's not maple syrup sweetness.
No.
It's I don't know. Yeah, it's just marshmallow sweet, and peanut brittle sweet.
Now I don't mean like I do mean to do this, but like I just feel like it's the perfect time, especially what they were talking about with all the success. And I know that the Chicago people are big into their seventh inning stretch. Is there a rock version of the seventh inning stretch? Is there like is there a way that we could hear that version of that? Even like the first part of like the Take Me Out to the Ball Game? Like how would that feel?
So what is that?
Take me out to the ball. Yeah. Since we
me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd. Something like that.
Yeah. Since this is Rock Tales, I just wanted to make sure that we know that that's the case.
Yeah. Maybe it's not a rock tale, but it's a rock inspired future event, if at all possible. Maybe Burn the Gates could come up with something and market that to the baseball powers that be. And they play that at 7th inning stretches.
Well, like
Not
you
in the majors, then the minors.
Like if you guys, I mean, how great would that be if you could like maybe do the national anthem and then like show?
I mean,
back up?
Pantera's wrote a song specifically for the Dallas Stars that they use at the
Stars.
yeah,
the hockey team.
Oh, shit. Wow. Okay.
They wrote a song specifically for the Dallas Stars and said, "Yeah, this is yours," and they play it at the beginning of every game.
See, that's some rock tail fucking trivia that I had completely forgotten about. Like maybe I read that in Hit
They were
Raider back in the day.
huge Dallas Stars fans.
Yeah, because they're just all about Texas, no
Yep.
matter what. And I'm a fairly big Pantera fan.
Arlington's right outside of Dallas.
Right.
So
right, and that's where they had their strip club. That's where Dime lived. I'm not sure if that's where Vinny lived, but holy smokes! Huh.
Yep.
It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all.
And when was that? That was Thanksgiving, right before Henry was born. Mm-hmm. Kate and I went on our baby moon, and we
It's a thing.
it's another moon. Yeah, we went and saw. We enjoy going and watching the Blues play. In other,
I'm sorry. He was having a baby at the same time of his honeymoon. Is it 2 moons that are happening? Is it a kind of Tatooine type situation that's going on, or like how's that work? Why didn't you see 2 moons instead of 1 moon?
It's a simultaneous moon. It's the same moon. Like you know how W2. He's a husband.
Yeah.
He's a father.
Yeah.
He's a friend.
Yeah.
Are you an uncle?
yeah,
He's a man of many hats. He's one person.
Yeah.
But he's expressed in all these different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that moon.
Gotcha.
The honeymoon moon. The baby moon.
the baby moon.
yeah.
Well, it's the we're gonna get away for a little bit and spend time with us before the baby comes along. So it was our baby.
You know what I've always felt like when it comes to like this whole entire situation?
Toasted marshmallows.
No.
And sorry.
No. When it comes to like the whole moon thing, I've always felt like I'm the dark side of the moon. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
So Negro Leagues. What else are you feeling about this?
I'm thinking for as light of a whiskey this is. I mean, it says light on the label, but when it comes across the palate, it is light. It's not so heavy. It's not so viscous. It's not so thick.
Yeah.
Like some bourbons can be. But I mean, this is it says light whiskey. I don't know. It's not a bourbon.
No. It is.
Did you read the synopsis off of this one?
I did. Style,
Yeah, you did while I was pouring.
Style is a corn whiskey. Mm-hmm. So it is just.
So have you tried that mellow corn? I've been seeing a lot
I
of
have
that.
not. I know Faith and Tim have had it, but
They have Bruzel's talked about it.
mellow corn is made by. Fact check me real quick, so I can do an edit. I think that's Heaven Hill. I'm positive that's Heaven Hill.
Mellow
Which we're doing the Bottled and Bond tour.
What is it,
at
distillery?
Heaven Hill. I'm so excited.
Very
It's
nice.
gonna be a great tour.
You're living your best life, my man.
Heaven Hill.
Boom!
Heaven Hill.
No edits needed.
He called it.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom, shalak lock, boom. You listen to House of Pain?
Also,
Yes,
fact check me again. I believe the
Show off.
Is there a way like to have like the fact like right below? Like,
Yeah,
a little
why not?
bar?
Yeah,
Like
there's a way.
I'm
like
pretty
a stock ticker.
confirmed.
I'm pretty certain
Confirmed.
the mellow corn is a Bottled and Bond.
Okay, mellow corn.
I feel like we've been nailing it on facts though, like in the sense of actually being right.
Heaven Hill Distillery. I'll just click on this here. Country of residence. Date of birth.
Yeah, I feel
Holy
like
shit, that is not it.
I feel like Mellow Corn is part of their bottled and bond collection, which is 100 proof.
Sorry, I had to enter my birthday so I could get on here. Mellow Corn is produced in accordance with a unique set of regulations that define straight corn whiskey. It is distilled from a mash of at least 80% corn and aged for 4 years. So far, that sounds like bottled and bond. In a once-used bourbon barrel. Compared to the deep amber color created by newly charred oak barrels in the production of our other bourbons and American whiskeys, the result of the used barrel is a lighter straw-colored spirit. Heaven Hill Distillery is one of the few remaining producers of this unique whiskey. It doesn't say anything on this website.
Is it 100 proof?
I mean,
It's 4 years. Is it 100 proof?
yeah, 4 years, 100 proof. It's got 80% corn, so that meets the 51% for the bourbon.
Is it considered bourbon though?
Hang on. Is Mellow Corn bottled and bond? Mellow Corn is the only extra aged bottled and bond corn whiskey available, according to Heaven Hill.
Boom.
Read it and weep, bitches.
2 for 2.
Yep. W2 is 2 for 2.
I'll drink to that.
I haven't said dubs that much today. That's hurt my heart a little bit.
Well, feel free.
And we're still working on like.
Dubbage.
I mean,
Jazzy Zig.
yeah, Jazzy Zig, but like.
He says
How
it
about
with
just
such
Jazz?
derision. Jazzy Zig.
Yeah.
That means we're going to be enemies one day, and that makes my heart
Dubs
sad.
and Jaws.
It feels like that we're gonna have like a high noon situation where Jazzy Zig, why don't you come out here with your
Come out and play.
with your boots with the fur? Why don't you come out here with your boots with the fur?
All right, so I said it doesn't hit. It doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like a 100 proof. But I'm starting to feel the hit of the 100 proof, and maybe that's all everything added together. I'm like, boots from the fur, huh? Yep, good times. Palate.
I honestly wanted to throw something that caught you off guard on that. That's what I got. Boots with the fur.
Unfortunately, it looks like this is gonna
It's gonna
rate pretty low, but it's not indicative to how I feel about it though. Because I do like it. It's a light tasting son of a bitch. It's good.
Numbers, math.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
I didn't add up my total yet. 'Cause
I did.
He had to jot down some notes. Is this a comparable rating to the others, or is it
I mean, it's ballpark. It's
ballpark? See what he did there? It's a baseball reference.
it's a household name. Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan.
Did you ever want to live in Chicago at all?
No.
Okay.
Never
I've always
did.
wanted to visit.
Is it?
And I've driven in Chicago once, and I wanted to just drive the car off the pier and
I don't know.
Uber it from there on. Yeah. Driving in downtown Chicago is awful.
Oh, because of the traffic is a nightmare, or
he doesn't like Lakeshore Drive.
like did you stop and
I mean,
go to different places?
yeah, it was fine. It's just a lot.
Okay.
I've been to Chicago 3 or 4 times. I've always had a good time.
Yeah.
Chicago's a great city. It's a good visit. I think last time I was in Chicago was me and the kids went to Chicago for a Taekwondo tournament. And that was actually, I think that was think that was the year that Ethan earned his national gold medal.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think he was maybe 13, 14, somewhere in there. And that was an awesome match. The poor kid that he got squared up against on one of his matches was more than an entire head shorter than him. And Ethan is, especially then, he was all legs. His legs were almost as tall as this kid was. And I've got a photo that I just happened to snap of him doing a spin hook kick. And he's pretty much looking eye to eye with this kid. And his foot is wrapped around, kicking him in the back of the head.
That's brutal.
So he got 3 points for the headshot, and then but because there was a spin involved with it, he got an extra point for that. And yeah, it was awesome.
Well, I was gonna say, like, besides, like, you know, the awesomeness of Ethan and Chi-Town, I did grad school in Illinois. Mm-hmm. Part of the reason why I kind of got close to that was because I thought that I was gonna move to Chicago, which would have changed the whole trajectory of my life. I would not be on this podcast if that was the case. That would have been weird if I was still on this podcast living in Chicago, because I don't know how would I have known you if that was the case. But like Ferris Bueller was the first reason why I wanted to move to Chicago.
Okay.
Like watching that movie and stuff. And then
was that filmed in Chicago?
Bueller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then
Sometimes like they're filmed in New Jersey, but you know they're or whatever.
I mean, they stand in the Sears Tower and they go to a Cubs game. So there's a lot of
and the parade.
Yeah, the parade and stuff like that. So it's very much like Chicago inspired. But like,
wow.
I think that one of the things that like I have always thought was interesting about Chicago is like the people and the experience that you have with it. So like, you know, again, when I'm thinking about like, I can't think of another place that like where you have that kind of inspiration, the joking of the seventh inning stretch, but like that kind of Cracker Jack feels perfect for like something like Wrigley Field, and like a place that is like close to like having the Giants being close to that Chicago area like feels like perfect for that. And you know, like it doesn't feel like a New York thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like it doesn't feel like a LA Dodgers thing. Like it feels like a perfect place for this type of inspiration in, you know, Chicago. And
so speaking of Wrigley Field, and again, like I've mentioned before, I've never been a huge baseball fan for whatever it's worth, but that last visit that I had to Chicago, just driving around, one of the nights that we were off, we spent some time down on the pier. We took off driving, looking for a place for dinner or whatever. And I just happened to stumble upon, it was off season, so there was no baseball game or anything. But we went through this neighborhood, and I just happened to round the corner, and there's Wrigley Field. And I was surprised at, maybe because it wasn't all lit up or all that, but it just seemed like it wasn't like center stage. It wasn't out in the open, and
it's just tucked away in the neighborhood.
It's tucked away in the neighborhood.
Wow,
it was just.
Is it one of those fields where it goes into the ground? It doesn't start at ground level and build
that I don't know.
Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like Kaufman is.
Yeah, that I do not.
You go out to the baseball field in Bonner Springs. That one's kind of dug into the ground, so it's not a tall stadium, but used to be what was the minor league team out there? It used to be. It started off.
And where?
Bonner Springs.
Oh, the T-Bones?
T-Bone Stadium. Yeah. Is it still the T-Bone Stadium?
No, it's now the Monarchs.
Monarchs. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Henry's first baseball game was to a Monarchs game, and we had a great time. They've actually done a lot of great things with that park out there. They've got a great little playground, kids area, so he was able to run around and stretch his legs and all that. And just recently, it was UMKC night at the K, so we took him to his first Royals game.
That's pretty awesome.
It was cool. We went by guest services, got him registered for his first Royals game.
Okay.
He got all the bells and whistles. And
What did he get?
Well, he got a little certificate for his first first Royals game, and he got a wristband so in case if he were to get lost, we could track him and all this stuff. But we found our seats, we got our food, our snacks. We get to our seats, we're sitting there. The game's about to start, and all of a sudden,
You started to say entourage.
Entourage, thank you.
Oh.
No, that's this whole group of people came down the stairs and they're like, "We're looking for Henry," and he's like, he got a big old button with his name on it.
Oh, cool.
My first Royals game.
I was so I honestly, and maybe it's this, the like whole entourage is like, who are these people?
Yeah.
They're there to see Henry. They were there.
I was like,
We're there for anybody
they
else.
just showed up and was like, hey, my guy.
He was
It's kind of a
starting the
big
show.
deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
It was cool.
I just didn't know that like he like rolled like that. It's like, yeah, like these are my people.
And neither did they.
Yeah. Would have been interesting. Mom, Dad, these are my entourage.
Yeah.
So we had
These are my people. They'll talk to your people.
Yeah.
we were
Oh, you want to do lunch?
we were third level. So we were up a little ways, but we were behind home plate, just a little left of home plate.
Okay.
But you know where all the press booths are? There's in the third level. There's a little wedge that is right there by where all those windows are, where all the press booths are. And because of how that wedge is, the aisle that comes down there separates it so that that outside wedge, row 1 is 1 seat, row 2 is 2 seats, and I think rows 3 and 4 are both 3 seats each. But we were in a row of 3 seats.
Okay.
And because of that, and because we were on that end, there was a little bit of extra space so that as he started to get antsy, he could kind of just do his thing.
Flop around over. Yeah.
And it was a good time. And we had a great view of the game.
You were on a Friday, weren't
The
you?
Royals kicked ass and they won, and the fireworks were released, and it was a good time.
That's our buddy Bill Wald.
Yeah.
Doing the fireworks.
He
out
does
there.
fireworks all over the
Yeah,
place.
he's the Wald family has been doing fireworks for decades in Kansas City. Yeah, he was in bass player in Restraint?
Restraint.
Yeah, so, look them up. They're not around anymore, but they had good music. Especially bass playing.
So I was gonna say, as a transition, and not from like this kind of goes away from like the amazing Kauffman Stadium experience and everything like that, but I was like looking up while like we were talking about this in the sense of like, and what the potential experience might be if they came out with the other 4 teams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that like I'm interested in is that there is the way that they said from the Black Pass website, and maybe you saw it in a different thing, but like the 8 teams, there was the Chicago American Giants. There's the Chicago Giants.
Interesting.
And then the Cuban Stars from New York, the Dayton from Ohio.
The what?
The Dayton.
Okay.
Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
And then Marcos, the Detroit Stars, the Indianapolis ABCs, Kansas City Monarchs, and then the St. Louis Giants.
Okay.
So
St. Louis Giants?
Yeah.
So there's St. Louis Stars and St. Louis Giants?
Huh.
So I wonder what, like, because there's more teams. There are more teams than like that original 8.
Okay.
But I wonder what. And I guess like if you go to the MLB.com, they probably. So like, the Atlanta Black Crackers, the Baltimore Elite Giants, Birmingham Black Barons, Chicago American Giants, Cuban X Giants, Detroit Stars, Hilldale Club, Homestead Grays, Indianapolis ABCs, Indianapolis Clowns, Kansas City Monarchs, which 13 league titles overall, which we haven't.
They were probably racking up titles and accolades before some of these other teams came into existence.
Memphis Red Sox, Newark Eagles, New York Black Yankees, New York Cubans, Philadelphia Stars.
The Black Yankees.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds cool to me. Mr. W2.
Yes, sir.
I've got a question for you. What did you give it on the nose?
I gave it 3.5.
3.5? Mm-hmm. I gave it a 3 3/4. It had, all the notes that I like in a whiskey, and it wasn't offensive. It was pretty nice, I think. How about you?
I gave it a 4, and I think that one of the things is that it wasn't offensive. It was great on the nose.
You really liked it. You're actually taking your time with this one.
This one is way more more of what I love.
Okay. I was going to try to put words in your mouth and be more palatable, more your speed. But
maybe more palatable, more.
You said it better in your own words.
But I think that's one of those things where it's it feels like when you kind of go into the Cracker Jack aspect, I think that it's obvious that there's some parts where I love the gimmick, right? Where it's I will lean towards if you say, "Hey, I'm barbecue." I'm like, okay, you are, and that's what you are, and I'm happy for that, right? The corn really elevates
Back to that curveball,
but the corn aspect really elevates the aspect of that Cracker Jack and that baseball feel. Obviously, what we've talked about throughout the other 4 has been from a perspective of baseball, right? So this one definitely. It feels the most baseball oriented than the rest of them.
Is there a little smokiness to it?
If there is, I probably misidentified it as charcoal.
But I think that I like it for that. So I gave it a high nose count. So 4.
I like it. How about the palate?
The palate 4.25. So I gave
the nose carried over and it gave you a little bit of
gave me a little bit
a bump up.
So this is where I truly felt like I tasted kind of the popcorn-esque aspect.
Because you thought you smelled it on the palate or on the nose.
I thought I smelled I knew I smelled the corn.
Okay.
And I said if the inception part, I said, "Oh, is it?"
Yeah.
Is it? They are just kind of guesstimating. Hey, you're gonna feel this is a baseball theme, so we're gonna say Cracker Jack because if you smell corn, you're just gonna think to yourself, "Yeah, I'm smelling Cracker Jacks." And so I guess I just said that's fine. When I tasted it, I said I feel like there's way more of the popcorn feeling behind that. So I will give you, the benefit of the doubt, and I'll do 4.25.
How about you, W2?
3.5.
Another 3.5.
Yeah.
Any particular reason why? You just felt it was consistent?
Very consistent. Better than average. Great, easy drinking. No surprises.
Right.
What I was expecting. Yeah.
I didn't really know what to expect. I just tried it and I liked it. I thought light. What is it? Light whiskey? I thought this is going to be like Diet Coke.
Right.
The Diet Coke version of whiskey. If I want that, I'll just drink Jim Beam White Label.
Whiskey Zero.
So, in case you didn't notice, I just dropped a Jim Beam.
There you go. My bad.
No, we're good. So, if I want sex in a canoe whiskey, I'll just drink that White Label. But this did not turn out to be that way. It did turn out to be, it's not exceptionally above, but it's a cut above for sure. So that's why on the palate I gave it a 3.75, and on the finish, it kind of fell off a little bit for me. There was charcoaly kind of influence there, which just it means whatever it means.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not a big fan of charcoal on the finish, so it only went down a quarter point to 3.5
Okay.
for me. How about you?
I gave it 3.5 also.
Okay, so it's still super consistent all across the board.
Yep.
How about you?
I gave it a 4.
You did. I like it. So you liked this. You liked this one.
Yeah, the consistency that I've talked about with the other 3, where I said, I gave it a high mark when it came to the palate, but like everything else, like typically I went from it's kind of gone high and then like trickled down to kind of more of a kind of consistent part. This one, it took a detour with the palate going up and then everything kind of staying where it is. So
that happens.
So that's how I feel about it. And with the finish, it's good. It's fine.
It's good.
So
it's
I
great.
keep it.
Actually, it's on the upper side of good when it comes to one of 4.
Yeah.
4 out of 5. Come on, that's really good. How about bottle presentation?
So I'm sticking with what I did before, and so 4.25. Like I said, it. The thing that I love about this branding, of course, across the board, is that you and we're trying to dissect it as its own thing, but like I cannot get away from the idea that this is a package deal. Right?
It is, yeah.
Like you can't buy it. You can't
I'm
buy.
trying to judge them individually, but it is a package.
You
deal.
can only buy 3 of them as like at the moment, like it was a package.
Yeah,
thing.
3 of them are only available in the package deal.
And then the other one is what it is, and it's a Kansas City based one.
And it's still also limited supply.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when those are gone, those are gone.
So like for me, the way that they have portrayed each of the baseball teams in their own personality and style, but like maintaining a consistency across the board, like it's a beautiful thing to kind of experience that. Like us getting to this 4th one and having Chicago and having the baseball elements, like is a really, really cool like technique. I will say that what is really interesting is that we have 3 different objects with things that are outside of Kansas City. Like the pennants are the things that are a Kansas City based thing. But you have the glove that is the Grays, you have the ball that is the St. Louis Stars, and then you have the baseball bat. You're impressed that I remember that stuff. But just
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the idea that like that you're going through that is like it's one of those things that like it's really, really great of being able to navigate that and like portray that in a way that is unified, but like its own individual thing. And like when I look at the baseball bats, I'm like, I don't know, for some strange reason, I'm like, that's perfect for Chicago. Like they're like looking at this, I'm like, this is
The cross bats.
the cross bats. This feels like Capone type thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how we
You want protection, pay up.
yeah.
Or
does
you're
that
going
say?
to need protection.
I see 50% here and 99% there.
So 50% alcohol volume and then 99% corn.
Okay. I hadn't caught that before. 99%.
lot of fucking
That's a
corn.
lot of corn.
What's in that 1%? It makes you wonder, malted what? Malted corn, malted
just
barley,
said
malt. Huh. All right. I ain't mad at it. What I like it is just each of them are unique, and they're uniquely exceptional in their own way.
Each is their own expression.
across the entire collection, and I like that. I like how they did that.
Very much so.
So my bottom presentation again is a 4. I can only guess yours is 4.25.
The wow has now worn off a little bit, so I'm back down to my 4.25.
Okay, all right. So the honeymoon phase of the new relationship has waned. I mean,
It's
no
wax.
pun intended. Waxed means it got better. Waned means it got wagon wheeled.
I just thought that you,
Womp womp.
so you don't
Wax on,
I
wax
guess,
off.
See,
Wax on, wane off. Are you waning off in there? Anyway, so you you dropped it back down to a 4.
No, down to a 4.25.
4.25. Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, I kept it at a 4. So that brought my final score to 7.5, which is lower than I really thought it would be. Because when I tasted it, I thought, this is not bad at all.
No. Mine was...
I guess none of it wowed me.
Mine was 7 3/8. 3.75.
Yeah.
And then I have 8.25, which the Monarchs might be the one that was the comparison for that. No, I might be higher.
Monarchs 8 3/8,
So-
and you have 8 1/4.
So it went Monarchs,
yeah.
and then it went Chicago.
So that's I think all that stuff's pretty damned interesting. I like how we come up with different points of view on the same thing. It's like we're looking at the same thing and we have 3 different ways of looking at it.
Definitely.
We're all individuals here, people. All of us. But yeah, we do enjoy our whiskey, one way or the other.
I like it.
And this has been a great, if you bought the entire package,
Which you would have to do to get these.
yeah,
Most of them.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you'd have an amazing experience of going. I mean, depending on how you pick it, like going first base, second base, third base, home, you get that whole entire experience, a variety of different styles from the same company, which is something to be said because it could easily.
And each style was inspired by a different team.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of those things where, and
In theory, of course.
and they're solid. It's not like you're like
They are.
that you.
They are.
Like all of our rankings.
That's what I
are
like
in the,
and or love about each one of these.
are in the same ballpark.
They are.
They are in the same range. They're like one of those things that you're not going to get disappointed completely by one of them. Like it's like, oh my gosh, like I spent this money and this one like was a lower tier than the rest of them. All of them are solid. It's just it becomes a preference choice, right? And I mean, all of them are. We still have a high marking on all of these. It's just because certain things arise. Rye. Becomes more of a prevalent thing that people really like. And,
Yeah, this is probably the most corn forward.
Good God, 99%.
It's got to be the most corn forward whiskey we've tried to date. I am interested in that mellow corn. I mean, people talk about it. Could it be awful? Yeah. Could it be cool? Yeah. They use it as a mixer.
It's not a high dollar bottle.
No, it's not. I see it on the shelf. It looks like a low dollar. It looks like a low dollar bottle.
Yeah, I think it's like a $20 bottle.
Well, I wrote down here an interestingly light tasting / drinking whiskey. This 100 proof homage to the Chicago American Giants is worth the pour. Call Rieger's and get your hands on one of those limited edition collections today. So by the time you see this, they may or may not be out of them. Hopefully they're not. Hopefully they still have some in stock. But, like I said, give them a call. And or check them out online. I don't know if it's Riegers.com. I don't know. Just Google it and give them a ring-a-ling and see if they even have any of these available. Hopefully they do. And if you're willing to take our word for it and drop $200 on this collection, I really don't think you're going to have a bad pour out of any of these 4 bottles. And
agreed.
I mean this sums up, this wraps up the end of this Negro League's Fielder's Choice collection of these Negro League inspired whiskeys.
Home run.
Yeah, home run across the board. Nobody got an average score of 5 or below. It's certainly no Navigator. So I think each one of these speaks for themselves, even though we spoke for them plenty. Hopefully, the spirits within the bottle reflect the presence of the spirits without and within the room with us.
Yeah,
Mr. Sixth Sense.
Thank you. Yeah. And also thank you for so much for like letting me be a part of this and celebrating like Juneteenth. You know, so appreciative of you two and what you do, not only on this like podcast, video cast series and everything like
Still
that.
Still a podcast, video or audio, doesn't matter.
Listen, like the language is just it's one of those things.
Yeah.
But in this grand scheme of things, like, you know, not only giving recognition and allowing me to be able to be, you know, on a platform to share, you know, perspectives about talking about, you know, representing not only the Negro League, but like, you know, Black culture in the grand scheme of things is really, really important. But like, you know, just having a good time. I think that's one of the big things that like I think about on a regular basis is like, we're all in this together. The more that we can kind of figure out the things that bring us together as opposed to the things that separate us, that's the most important thing. And, you know, and having a good drink with good friends and being able to dissect the things that, you know, don't separate us, but just, you know, things that don't matter that much. Yes, figuring out like a ranking about drinks, it's good, you know, it's good fodder, but at the end of the day, it's not the things that, you know, are going to be the life and death of things. So
right, not going to be the life and death of society for sure.
For sure. So,
but you know, if we focused on the things that brought us together more than the things that divide us, I think the world would be a lot better place. But that's the idealistic me.
But it starts with a drink. Like, and again, it's like when, you know, one of the things
it doesn't have to be conversation.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be whiskey. Conversation, having a conversation, and listening. You know, one of the biggest things that like today I'm feeling very connected to is the listening part. Like, making sure that you listen to other people, thinking about what they have to say, and not just like listening to just respond, right? Like, you know, one of the things that I've been so fortunate, and hopefully like you witness as I've been on here, is not just like trying to jump in and like crack a joke every time that it's like, I appreciate these two individuals and what they bring to the table. So like, hopefully if you go back to like every episode, there's way more listening than there is like just talking. Because I can talk. I got in trouble when I was in elementary school for talking, but like,
plus you haven't seen the outtakes. Holy shit.
Yeah, the outtakes. Yeah, a lot of jokes, a lot of riffs, a lot of Cat Williams inspired jokes, a lot of Dave Chappelle, a lot of the Chris Rock jokes that I got going on here. It's just it's insane. That's going.
Those are good. But I'm a Cat Williams fan.
Yeah.
So it's
And then I throw in Mitch Hedberg, which is wild.
You gotta love Mitch Hedberg, dude.
It's wild. So it's one of those things. So like, that's just kind of how that goes. But like,
anytime he shows up on my news feed, I have to watch the fucking video. I got a receipt for a donut. In what circumstance would I need a receipt for a donut? I bought the donut. I don't need a piece of paper as proof for my donut.
What I love,
what
I love is, especially like with comedians, is like when somebody does Hedberg, like I know exactly. Like I had a couple of days somebody was doing a joke, and I said, "Oh, you're doing Mitch," and then they finally explained it, and I was like, "Oh, like that's how." Doing Chappelle, good luck. Like
good fucking luck.
Like
man.
It's one of I can see somebody doing Chris Rock very inappropriately, but I can see somebody doing Chris, and also Cat Williams.
Yeah.
But like Chappelle might be a little bit rougher. Anyway, all that's to say is,
I don't know, dude. Cat Williams is pretty fucking rough. He drops the N-bomb a lot.
He does.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could do like we're getting very, very in the weeds of things, but I feel like you could do the high pitch of like of Cat Williams
when he gets worked up. Yeah.
That would feel like that don't even sound attractive. Like that type of part where it's like you feel like, oh, I know that's Cat, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if there's a really like Chappelle like voice in the same way. There's characters, but like not Chappelle voice.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle has evolved so much from like when he started off in stand up, and then did Half Baked, and then went back to stand up, and then eventually came out with his own show.
Yeah.
and then decided to walk away from it just for his own mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health is, at that time, like he stepped away from it. Like, oh, he went crazy. He got whatever. He had to walk away. Well, yeah, that was part of it. And mental health is definitely something to think about. And I remember last month you had mentioned something in one of your posts that the last month, the month of May, was a mental health kind of awareness kind of check-in month, because a couple of your friends in your youth didn't make it to adulthood.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the things, and I mean, to like not, I don't, and we will figure out how to bring the levity at the end of the episode and everything. But like, I mean, I've experienced like the dark side of humanity in a variety of different ways. And I lost one of the things that I experienced when I was in sophomore year and junior year of high school. Like, I lost people, like lost friends through mental health like struggles and things like that. And that was one of those things that was intense as a kid trying to navigate it. Something that, I mean, you don't know much about me, but people are one of the life forces of like how I go about like, my everyday. Like, I want to make sure that like there's a community around me. I care about people to a point that it probably is like scary, in the sense of like, I want everybody to win, and I want to be around, everybody feeling good about themselves. So like, again, like when we talk about like having a community around us, being able to hang out with Dubs, being able to hang out with you, which we have not figured out your true Western name. We're gonna figure it out soon enough.
I've picked it, but you can't pick your own nickname. You just can't.
I mean, I've chose the Kansas City Kid, so you can pick your own nickname.
Well, that actually works.
Yeah, but no, I love your nickname. I love it. I don't know how to wink. But like, it's one of those things that like, I mean, having that community is really, really important.
Absolutely.
I learned that at a young age, in the sense of like experiencing that loss. It was hard. It was truly hard. But I think that like at the end of the day, the whole point of everything that like, I feel like when I jump on this podcast, and get an opportunity to talk about things, is like, how do we figure out what do we mean to each other? How do we figure out how to have a conversation about these things? There are a variety of different struggles, different backgrounds, different things that we are trying to figure out about each other. Pick Progress. I had the fortunate opportunity to talk about Pick Progress, here on this podcast. Pick Progress is all about just trying to understand each other. Any project that I've come out with is just kind of from a perspective of like, at least see me or see these people from this perspective. It's not about like, trying to force an idea down your throat. It's about like entertaining that idea, right? And so like, that's where I think it is interesting. And I had to experience that from a perspective of experiencing loss, having two people that I knew very well that were struggling and broken and hurting, and experiencing the loss at one point in the end of my sophomore year, and then experiencing it the next 3 months later at the beginning of my junior year, like transforms your perspective of like what is important. So at the end of the day, whether you're doing drinks, whether it's bourbon, gin, vodka, tequila, whatever, iced tea,
lemonade,
Pepsi,
doesn't matter.
Mountain Dew, Code Red, whatever. It's one of those things. It's like, it's all about having a community around you, talking to people, listening to their experiences. If they're hurting, being able to put them in positions to like seek that help. If they aren't hurting, making sure that we're all having a good time, and that like we're not taking everything serious. I do think that as we get older, as adults, we lose that idea of what it means to just have fun. And what is wild to me as an adult is that like, if maybe some of the best times of our lives as like were in elementary school or as kids, then like we have the power to make that happen.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
We can't change it.
Yeah, I don't understand when we don't try to make that happen, and like trying
It's
to
attitude, it's perspective, it's gratitude.
So
it's community.
yeah. So that's my soapbox for the night and for the day and everything like that. I appreciate so much being on this episode and being on these episodes and everything like that. Hopefully I will show back up at some point. It's again like Thanos at some point. Like I'm inevitable. I'm definitely inevitable. So I'll pop up at some point and everything like that.
Yeah, there's a future date with inevitability for sure. And so to help bring to wrap up the unfortunate experience, I mean, of your friends and their families and stuff. When you talk about community, sometimes you just don't have that community. Yeah. You don't know who to talk to.
Yeah.
You don't have a community of others that can understand you because you don't even understand yourself.
Yeah.
And if you need somebody, a third party, somebody that's a stranger, somebody you don't know, you're not going to burden them by calling them or texting them. That's what they are there to do. They're getting a paycheck to help you. So if you do need help, definitely get a hold of, you can either call or text the number 988. And it's a suicide hotline, and they do more than just suicide prevention work. They can definitely help you out, get counseling in your area. They can set you up, with free options or paid options depending on your income bracket.
And can I say one thing? And like I almost wanted to say this somewhere in the thing. It was almost like a catchphrase that I want to say about like drinking responsibly. This is like a balancing act. It is always going to be a balancing act. Like I have not me struggling, but like have struggled with like having family members and people that use this to navigate other things. This is fun. This is great, but balance it. So if you feel like you're struggling in some way, whether it's like anything like that, please be responsible. And if you feel like you're using it as a crutch, like Jonathan said, like please seek help and everything. And it's not trying to bring down the whole entire thing. It's just a reality check. And I know that like that comes out of left field.
And that's another one of the services that the 988 number will help with. It's not just suicide; it's also crisis hotline. So it covers a multitude of problems, whether it be self, community, familial, whatever. I mean, just look them up, give them a Google if you can. If you're watching this, then you can definitely Google it. So give that a try. I mean, if you're facing any kind of problems that are life altering, see what they can help you do to make it through it. Because I mean, a lot of these problems, like you said, if you're using whiskey as a way to get through things, you're gonna have to stop the damn whiskey. It's just not gonna work. It just doesn't work. Because I mean, I get what you're saying. Like addiction runs strong in both sides of my bloodline, so I have to be pretty careful with what I do. Because I do love whiskey. I loves me some whiskey, but like if I get to a point where like I can't function without it, I'm gonna have to shut it down.
Right.
But so far so good. And I do go days without even thinking about it. I mean, other than, the podcast related, that's more of like a promotional kind of business kind of whatever thing, version of it. But
it's the balancing act of the idea of like, these are opportunities to connect with people. If you're using it as a crutch to be able to function throughout the day, then like, this conversation that I'm having with you or whatever is an opportunity to entertain the idea of like, what are the things that are like guiding you? Because me showing up on this episode and drinking is for experimental and just understanding reasons of like, what makes a good drink a good drink. It's not that I need it to be able to talk to you. I'll talk to you whenever you want me to talk to you. I don't need alcohol to be able to navigate that. So like, if you are watching this, like that's the question. And again, as a person that experienced loss in high school, it is one of those things of asking them the questions of like, what was keeping them moving forward. And at some point for them, they didn't have that answer. There was nothing for them. And that's the scariest part of like, I don't have that for them. And that's when I'm like, okay, you have to seek a professional person to be able to navigate that and have those answers. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be okay. Some of us, our North Star went out a long time ago. Some of us, our North Star is alcohol. You just can't let it be that. Yeah. But that said, 100% every time, thank you for being a part of it. We're always happy to have you on and have you promote your projects like pickprogressproject.com.
Yeah. Thank you.
KALIMIZZOU.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Kalamazoo. Check them out. You do graphic work design.
Yeah, that's how we first met.
Is it freelance or your bill paying?
So I do freelance work. Occasionally I do have a 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. I'm very much a Dolly Parton, so I'm working 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. But like at the end of the day,
I almost wore a Dolly Parton shirt tonight. The damn thing wouldn't fit, and it's a XXL.
I mean, if someone wants to have a conversation with me about like not only Beyonce and Cowboy Carter and Dolly Parton, I'm happy to do that. But like at the end of the day, like that's how me and Dubs first met. One of the things is that I am so fortunate about is how great of a designer he is, and being able to be in the same vicinity to be able to like create projects and designs, those types of things. So yeah, if you're ever looking, go to kalamazoo.com. When it comes to the Pick Progress project, when it comes to celebrating, in my mind, Black excellence, like Pick Progress is that space. You can see some amazing designers, creatives that have created posters that you can see. You can meet some amazing Black people that are sharing and being vulnerable about their experiences being Black in America and everything like that. And all of that ties into Juneteenth, ties into the Negro Leagues, ties into all of it and that type of stuff. So if you get an opportunity, learn more about us and our perspective and those different types of things. So thank you so much for having me again and again and again and again and again.
Thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah. All right. We're doing this.
Let's wrap it. What do you say? No matter who you are, no matter what you're drinking, no matter who you're drinking it with, never forget.
Keep on burning.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you.